"Your house is wonderful, Herr Lubert," he said. Lubert bowed in gratitude. "It is more than I need and more than my family needs," Louis went on, "and certainly much more than we are used to." Lubert waited for Louis to finish, his eyes brightening, sensing a surprising retreat. Louis looked out across the great river that flowed out to their shared sea, the sea that was carrying his own estranged family towards him now. "I'd like to propose a different arrangement," he said. The story is set in Hamburg in 1946, and it's 1 year after World War II. We're in this in-between time between the Second World War and the commencement of what people know as the Cold War. And we're in a devastated Germany, in a devastated Hamburg, and a devastated people. And the British are there in their zone. There are 4 zones, the British, American, French and Russian zones in Germany. It's said that the French got the wine, the Americans got the view, and the Brits got the ruins. The Russians, of course, became East Germany later. And Colonel Lewis Morgan has been there since the end of the war, and he's been put in charge of what's called a Kreis, which is like a district, and given sort of power of life and death in that particular area. And because the Allies are going to be there for so long, reconstructing Germany, the families have to come and live there. So Lewis's wife, Rachael, and his youngest son, Edmund, come over by train and to live in Hamburg. Now, at the time, there was such a shortage of housing that the Brits requisitioned houses belonging to Germans, and then they put the Germans into billets or Nissen huts. And Louis does something very unusual. He goes to see a house, a very fine house, belonging to a German architect called Herr Lubert, whose wife is dead, and whose daughter Freda is 14, 15 years old. And he, rather than has them thrown out of the house, he says, "We'll share the house with you," because it's such a large house. And this is a fairly unusual thing to do. So when Rachael comes out, having A, not seen him for a year, B, lost her eldest son Michael and is still grieving that, he has to tell her that they're going to be sharing this house with the former enemy, effectively. I see the story as it's about the reconstruction of a country, but it's really also about the reconstruction of a marriage and of people's relationships and lives. And in this particular story, we have Louis and Rachael, a marriage, severely tested by war and loss. We have Lubert and Rachel's encounter, a relationship severely tested by prejudice and hostility, but actually that finds common ground in loss and a shared grief, and actually an ability to express and talk about it, which is not something that Rachael and Louis have.